Hello dear chess enthusiasts, and welcome back to our exciting journey through the world of chess. In today's episode we delve into an exciting match from the U20 World Chess Championship, again, and our spotlight shines on the talented Swiss player Fecker, who is playing the white pieces, taking on the formidable Köllner, who is playing the black pieces in a very tense game. This game kicks off with an unusual opening, setting the stage for an tense and very exciting middle game, and ends with a very surprising outcome. So let's plunge straight into the heart of the action. White starts with first e4, black plays e5, knight f3, knight c6, and now bishop b5, and we are in a Ruy Lopez. a6, the standard move, bishop a4, and now bishop c5. And now the interesting thing is that after c3, black went for knight g to e7. And usually in such setups, the black squared bishop on c5, this one, is on f8, and then black plays g6, bishop g7. But this setup is playable, but I wasn't able to find a name. So maybe it's a nameless variation, but played by strong players such as Grishuk and Elyanov. So white castled, knight g6, only move, because after castling white would play d4, and yeah, white would have a very pleasant position because bishop moves, then d5, this knight moves back, and white is up a pawn. Not good, as you can see. So knight g6 instead, and now this idea doesn't work because, oh, it's not winning, it's working, but bishop a7, and white is not winning anything because after, let's say, d5, then comes knight to e7, and the knight on g6 is still defending the e5 pawn. There is also bishop takes c6, winning a pawn, after d takes c6, and knight takes e5, but then black has knight takes e5, pawn takes e5, and queen e7, and according to the database this has been played several times by strong grandmasters, and black's score is very fine. So let's go back. And now let's come to the serious moves. Bishop e3. e3 is the square where the bishop wants to be in the long run. So let's say white plays bishop e3, black castles, knight bd2, e takes d4, c takes d4, and black has this d5 move, and we get into this position, and this position is roughly equal. So let's go back and see how white could try to put more pressure on black, and the idea is first to go bishop to g5. What's the idea behind bishop g5? Now white forces black to play f6, and after f6 the bishop just now drops back to e3. So white basically achieved the same position, but black has inserted the f6 move, and white just argues that this might be a weakness for the king. Black castles, knight bd2, and king h8. King h8 is a very standard move. Rook e1, and all the moves played by white are very standard moves in the Ruy Lopez, which can be played against several setups. And h3. Now comes an interesting moment, because black goes knight to e7. However, e takes d4 was played by the strong Ukrainian grandmaster Pavel Elyanov, and bishop to d7 was played by and against Grishuk. So Grishuk had the white and black pieces in this setup with bishop to d7. But in our game, Köllner decided to go knight c to e7. And now is a very interesting and important moment for white. What white should do here is either play knight f1, and then let's say f5, e takes f5, e takes d4, c takes d4, bishop takes f5, and now knight g3, winning a tempo. And this variation is working because on every move something is hanging on both sides, literally. And the alternative is bishop to c2. And now it's very important to focus on this. We will see why in a couple of moments. So here, let's say h6, knight f1, and now f5 does not work because of d takes e5, f takes e5, and now e takes d6. And the idea here is that this might be an issue and this might be an issue. So if the queen takes on e7, then white clearly has this move. Bishop takes g6, just winning a piece for nothing. And if the knight takes on e7, there's this very unpleasant queen takes d8, rook takes d8, bishop takes a7, clearing the file for the rook. So the knight is under attack, and after rook takes a7, there's rook takes e7, winning a piece. So, but white decided to play bishop to b3, not bishop to c2 or knight f1, but bishop b3, which is also not that bad. Now you will see why I showed you this h6 variation earlier after bishop c2, because in the game black went for h6 and white went for knight to f1, which is not a great move. It gives up the advantage because now black can play f5, and as you can see there's no bishop attacking along this diagonal. So d takes e5 again taking on e4, and now comes a very interesting moment after e takes d6. When I was following the game, I expected this move, and black just controls the center, and the position should be good for black. However, white and black seem to have seen something, but it's very difficult. So e takes f3, d takes e7, queen takes e7, and now came knight g3. There is a better move, a slightly better move is bishop takes a7, queen g5, g3, and only now to take the bishop back. But there is even a stronger move, and this is knight h2, because after bishop takes e3, rook takes e3, queen c5, knight takes f3, white is a pawn up and better developed, and yeah, black has a lot of issues here. So let's go back. Knight g3 was played, and black responded with queen h4. White played bishop takes a7, rook takes a7, bishop c2. Now came queen g5, very important, putting pressure on g2. So the knight on g3 cannot move. Queen to d3, and this was a very puzzling move because now bishop f5 is working. And as you can see, the knight cannot take because of checkmate. So let's go back. Instead, a queen d4 was played, and this was probably seen by white, yeah? So bishop takes c2, and now, as you can see, the rook is gone on a7, and now followed knight f4. Now you can see queen, pawn, knight are attacking on the king's side, and white has probably only the knight as a defender here. So very dangerous attack. Queen e3 happened. Now came queen to h4 and queen e7, trying to exchange queens. Very important. If white manages this, black has trouble. But there is this rook f6 move, and now the queens cannot be exchanged. And after queen d7 followed f takes g2, rook e8 check, king h1, king h2, and now again bishop f5, and again it cannot be taken basically, but also the queen is under attack. So if it was taken, then follows check and checkmate. and therefore white resigned after bishop f5 here. As always, I'm hoping that you liked the video and also the game. I personally found it very tense and interesting, also very exciting. If you want to see more such content, feel free to subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. See you!